now 19-13. Meanwhile, for the Pelicans, Anthony Davis, 30 points, 20 boards. The Bucks beat the Celtics in Boston 120-107. Giannis Antetokounmpo with 30 points. Pacers end the two-game slide. They beat the Nets 114-106. Head coach Nate McMillan's team put an end to Brooklyn's 7-game winning streak.
We figured it out. We didn't want to drop three, and was able to, win here on the road against a scrappy Brooklyn team that's been playing really well. They played really well tonight, but our guys, for 48 minutes hung in there.
Victor Oladipo led the Pacers with 26 points. Other games, Kings over the Grizzlies 102-99, Jazz 120, Blazers 90, Bulls 90, Magic 80, the Spurs over the T-Wolves 124-98, Hawks 114, Knicks 107, the Pacers again beat the Nets 114-106, Raptors 126, Cavaliers 110, and the Hornets over the Pistons 98-86. College basketball, number 8 Gonzaga beat Denver 101-40. Number 10 Michigan State over Oakland 99-69. Baseball, the Dodgers trade outfielders Yasiel Puig and Matt Kemp along with pitcher Alex Wood, backup catcher infielder Kyle Farmer, and $7 million to the Reds for pitcher Homer Bailey, who will be released, and a pair of prospects. The trade saves the Dodgers $70 million in salary. College football, the Bahamas Bowl, Florida International beat Toledo 35-32. In the famous Idaho Potato Bowl, BYU over Western Michigan 49-18. In the NFL, the Ravens announced head coach John Harbaugh will return next season. They're currently working on a contract extension. His current deal expires after this season. The Raiders expressed an interest in playing their home games next season at AT&T Park in San Francisco. Rams running back Todd Gurley to be a game-time decision for tomorrow's game against the Rams because of a left knee injury. NHL, Capitals 2, Sabres 1, Devils over the Senators 5-2, and the Blackhawks beat the Avalanche 2-1. I'm Peter Schwartz.
Ohio State, UCLA, UNC, Kentucky. The 5th annual CBS Sports Classic this afternoon, 3 Eastern, noon Pacific on CBS Sports Radio. The only way you can take CBS Sports Radio 1140 with you is the radio.com app. Download it today and listen to us anytime, anywhere. We've got you covered, Las Vegas. Interviews, insights, and your input are all part of Sports Adrenaline. Here are your hosts, Tony Cordasco, John Castanino, Matt Gutierrez, and Haley Brooks on CBS Sports Radio, 1140 AM.
From Las Vegas, this is the Sports Adrenaline Las Vegas show. The Golden Knights start a 4-game homestand with a 4-2 victory on Thursday night over the Islanders. The 5th time in franchise history that this team, the VGKs, has rallied from a 2-goal deficit to win. Today, it's Les Habitants who come calling at 1 o'clock.
Ooh, I've never heard it pronounced that way, Tony.
The Habs, man.
Yeah, the Habs. Les Habitants.
That's where that comes from.
That's where
I think it's more his.
That's a derivative. No, that's it.
Inflection.
1 o'clock face-off. The Raiders, that's the Jersey version of Les Habitants. So the Raiders could be playing their final game at Oakland Coliseum on Monday night. Could be an emotional farewell, and news surfacing that the Raiders could be playing 2019 games at San Francisco's AT&T Park. And they like, it's something about the infields. They like the skin. Are they going to build like an infield with dirt here in the new stadium just to make them feel at home?
No, if they did the whole field turf thing like UNLV is doing with their field, they could have just painted a dirt infield on there.
They have to.
For nostalgia
Exactly.
purposes.
UNLV basketball in Hawaii today. The Diamond Head Classic, they will take on the homestanding Hawaii Warriors. It's at 2 o'clock today, which is noon Hawaii time. It's an early call for them. 2019 WNBA schedule comes out this week, and the Aces will be opening at home. The Lights also have their home opener set. Tony Cordasco, John Castanino, Matt Gutierrez, Haley Brooks on assignment. Sonia Schlobaum is on the dials, and we are brought to you by Laborers Local 872. The men and women building the Raiders Stadium, the new Summerlin Ballpark. We'd like to thank all of them, the men and women of 872, for their support of Sports Adrenaline. And on our blockbuster show today, we've got our special guest coming in live in the studio, Rudy. Is that how you, yeah? We're going to do that?
You just watched it, didn't you, Tony?
Rudy Ruettiger for like the 15th time. Rudy Ruettiger from Notre Dame fame, the movie Rudy. That movie is now 25 years old. He'll be joining us live in the studio. David Jablonski from the Dayton Daily News will be here to talk about the Atlantic 10 Mountain West Conference Challenge, which starts up in 2020. Plus, we will hear from Joel Tomway from the Runnin' Rebels as they take on Hawaii today. John caught up with Tony Sanchez as the recruiting class was announced. Plus, late edition CBS Sports draft expert Chris Trapasso. He'll be live with us for the very first look at the Raiders draft board. And thank you so much, Sierra Nagel, if you're tuning in, for the ugly sweaters. We look like choir boys today, and you can tune in on Facebook, right? Sports Adrenaline, Las Vegas. And then also now, where do you have us beaming today, John?
I think we're up on Periscope. We got good audio. You're going to hear both sides of the conversation this week, so that's good.
That helps.
We're building this thing. So, yeah, check us out on Periscope. You can just find us at Adrenaline LV, and then Facebook.com, Sports Adrenaline LV.
So the Porch Pirates got you, John. They got
Yes.
you. And then,
Yeah.
so,
Oh, yeah.
wait.
Thanks for bringing
it's
that
not,
up.
It's not that people stole packages off of your front porch, but what did they
This is
steal?
heartbreaking. It's a Christmas season, and I mean, we've seen it everywhere. I don't know if you guys saw the viral video about somebody put a glitter bomb.
Yeah, the
out
glitter
on his,
bomb is
Yeah,
great.
that's gone viral, like 20 million views. So really heartbreaking. I have a 15-year-old that we're shopping for, and she gives us a list. Number one on the list was the Chrissy Teigen cookbook.
I thought that was for
Sonia.
you.
Yeah, Sonia
I don't know what you want
is
to
really a fan
Yeah,
of that.
yeah, that's why I was
I paused for effect.
Yeah.
And then we got her some faux fur pillows, again, because she's 15. Very hoity is the word I use for a 15-year-old. Both gone. So says they're delivered on Amazon, did not show up. So Porch Pirates.
They got to you.
Yeah, luckily Amazon, the book will get here on time, thank God. The pillows, however, will not be here until after Christmas. That's
bummer.
unfortunate for
People
her.
suck, man.
So let's start off with the
terrible.
knighthood. The Golden Knights coming off of a win on Thursday night in which they rallied from a 2-0 deficit. That win with 4 consecutive goals and a 4-2 win. Goals by Nate Schmidt, who led VGK with 7 shots on goal. Recent call-up Brandon Peary, who we've been begging for. We've been begging to have him up with the big team. Paul Stastny scored. William Karlsson, who has come on of late, the leading scorer now with a really cool goal there between the opponent's legs. So the turning point, guys, Golden Knights with a couple of goals, 1:23 apart in the third. And this happened on the heels of Oscar Lindbergh hitting Boychuk, right? Then Bolivier comes over to Boychuk's defense of the Isles, and then so it should have been a couple of more minutes added to Lindbergh, but then you get the 4-on-4 skate. So it's a big break for the Golden Knights. Then Karlsson and Stastny with goals, and suddenly they take the lead.
We got into a little bit of a discussion in the press box the other night about that hit and whether or not it should have been a double minor because of the head contact.
It should have. There was head contact.
And this was my stance on it, and I don't know how accurate this is. I wish we had a chance to talk to officials. That would be great.
Yeah, and they also did not show the replay on TV.
They didn't. Well,
I think we were homered.
They showed it in the arena quite a few times.
Oh, they did.
And yeah,
Was it to the head? They did not show it on TV.
Here was my stance on it. He was bent over trying to play the puck, so he was crouched down pretty far. And as Lindbergh came over, he didn't run through him. It's not like he came full speed, threw his elbow out there, and went through him. He tried to slow up last second, and yeah, he made contact with the head, but that was more because of the body posture than it was Lindbergh just coming through and trying to go upstairs and hit somebody in the head. And I'm wondering if they took all of those factors into account. His body posture, the fact that Lindbergh tried to slow up, the fact that he wasn't injured, everything into that is why they didn't give him a double minor. I don't know for sure, but I think that had a lot to do with it because it seemed a lot worse real time than it did once you actually watched it.
Lindbergh came right out of the box, so he served 2 minutes right before that hit.
Right.
Made a beeline right for that player and took him out. So I was impressed. And then I tweeted immediately after 4-on-4, right? Golden Knights were +2 on 4-on-4 this season. Not a huge number, but then immediately they were +3 on 4-on-4. Almost +4 because they scored that second goal.
The second goal
basically right after the 4-on-4 ended.
Yeah, and then let's talk about the shakeup there. So Tuck and Smith, the line moves. Tuck to the first line. Smith goes to the second. This is something I think that we've been begging for from Turk. At least I thought Pacioretty would wind up on the first line, but instead it's Alex Tuck, and I think that that's going to make the magic happen. I really do because – and Brandon Peary, I mean, the guy doesn't play much defense, right, from what I could tell. But, man, he puts the puck on net, and they've been missing that factor.
Well, I asked him in practice.
How do you push him out though when Patches returns?
You don't. I think there's room for him on that third line. Most likely, you need offense on that third line. Carpenter's not giving you much there. Lindbergh's not giving you much there as far as offense goes. So I think Peary has a spot on there. And I asked him about the offense. Last year, he came in, played 2 road games, scored 3 goals in those 2 games. It was instant offense. And he said, that's my game. I like to shoot first. But going back to the Riley Smith thing, Tony, you've been harping on that since day one. Riley Smith is going to be the guy that ends up on that second line.
Yeah.
We have a little sound here from Riley Smith after the game on his move down to that line.
Play onto this team, it's pretty special. So, I think it brought us a lot of momentum and energy to our game once we moved it up a little bit.
When he tells you you're going to switch lines, do you go to the guy, like, Tuck and Peary and talk about kind of like, do you strategize at all, or is it just, we'll figure it out when we get out there? Like, I'm just curious how it works on the bench.
I mean, similar how, when I play with Carly and Marchie, it's, every face-off you're on, you're making a new face-off play or looking for opportunities. When you're playing the game, everyone's seeing the same thing, how the game's progressing, so everyone has similar ideas. So it's pretty similar. In the second period, I think, our first couple shifts together, we created a lot of zone time and had a lot of good chances, so we're just trying to build on that and put pressure on their D.
Yeah, there you go. So Riley Smith now on that second line along with Stastny and who else is on that line? Why am I blanking here? John, help me out. How are we all blanking on
I'm
the second
listening
line
to the
right now?
feedback radio here.
And I was
Stastny.
listening to Intercom's.
And Peary. Peary was on the second.
Peary's on the second line, yeah.
They played together since they were 8 years old.
Pacioretty.
Peary and Riley Smith, 8 years old. They played in juniors together. It was really, really kind of cool to learn that. But getting back to Peary, if I can, again, there's got to be a permanent spot on this roster.
There has to be.
For Brandon Peary. There has to be, right?
Yeah.
Is Daniel Carr's on the roster right now? Is he a scratch, or do they send him down right now?
Either
way, he shouldn't be on the roster. It should be Peary.
That's probably just a spot right now because Pacioretty is they IR'd him, so he's out for a week. So he'll be, and that was retroactive to Monday, I believe. So he'll be eligible to come back after the Kings game tomorrow night. But Riley Smith on that second line, I really like that pairing along with Stastny. I think the two of them really complement each other. They both possess the puck really well. They both see the ice really well out there. I think the two of them, and you saw the play that Riley Smith had where they were able to keep the puck alive down on the right board in the corner. And Riley came away with it and just kind of delayed a little bit, found Stastny on the other side of the net for the go-ahead goal. Beautiful pass, great shot from Stastny to get it in there. And I think those two are going to work really well on that line.
Good chemistry right there.
Absolutely.
And what I really like, too, out of Riley Smith's game, him and Belmar late in the game with the empty net. The Islanders pulled their goalie, right? The forechecking was unbelievable. That's the best job they've done, I think, all season. Because, John, you and I were talking about Carlson, right? And he was the forechecker, and a few games back when we were on the air and we were talking about how could Carlson be the only player out there that's forechecking right now, for this Golden Knights team. It would have been great because Carlson was in the scrum, Marcia, and when they were about to go, I want to see if
I love seeing Marchie mix it up.
I want to see
this
if
guy,
Lady Bing can fight.
mows him down.
Could Lady Bing fight?
I think he's hardly taller than me. I'm 5'6" on a good day. I think he lists at 5'8", but he's shorter than that.
I've got him. I'm 5'8", and I've got him by maybe half an inch.
Yeah, I just love it. So and then we didn't even mention Marc-Andre Fleury, Steady Eddie, and he had a great game again. And now he's 4th all time and wins 400, or excuse me, 9th all time and wins 424 all time passing Tony Esposito. Pretty cool gig.
Gave a lot of credit to teams that he's played for, the guys that he's played for. He talked about his Pittsburgh teammates and now in Vegas and a lot of credit to playing for good teams, he said. And I mean, that's Marc-Andre, right? Super humble guy. Just loves being out there playing hockey. That's why he's leading the league in starts right now.
Of late, for VGK, they've had second period collapses, but they had the last 15 shots on goal in the second period there a couple of nights back. Again, this afternoon, it's the Canadians who come calling, and that will be an afternoon affair, a matinee coming up at 1 o'clock this afternoon. So VGK in the holiday spirit. One thing you have to really like about the NHL, they get the Christmas holiday off, right? And then they have a little breather as well. Up next, we welcome David Jablonski, the Dayton Flyers beat writer for the Dayton Daily News. We're going to talk about the A10 Mountain West Conference Challenge starting in 2020. A lot of the Mountain West Conference coaches are not pleased with this. Stay tuned, much more on the way.
It's the Friday evening Bud Light whistle at your local Speedy Marts. When grabbing your game day Bud Light, text the code word you'll find on the Bud Light display in any citywide Speedy Marts to win great weekly prizes or one of 3 end-of-football season grand prizes. Enter at Speedy Mart today.
One of the funniest shows in Vegas is the Blue Man Group, and yes, that's our holiday gift to you. 2 tickets to experience Blue Man with any purchase over $199. Hi, I'm Michael Lee Minden. Happy holidays to you and your family. I'm a real person, born here in Las Vegas, and I'd really like to meet you. You'll find me in the gorgeous Fashion Show Mall. Look, if you're going to purchase a diamond or any jewelry gift, you will always get much more for your money if you come see us at Michael Lee Minden Diamond Jewelers. Honestly, I have the largest selection, the very best prices, and fun-friendly staff. Buying jewelry can be pretty intimidating. Not in my store. We'll always treat you with kindness and respect, and you'll never go anywhere else. Why would you ever go to some impersonal chain store? You'll receive better quality, a lower price, and you'll have a much better experience at Michael Lee Minden. Come shop with us, and remember, 2 tickets to the Blue Man Group as our holiday bonus gift to you with any purchase over $199. Make her a Minden girl.
Okay, I need to stop and pick up that sweater for Jack and those ballet slippers for Ava before going to the office holiday party. What size is Ava now? Let me send a quick text and find out.
Stop. Texting while driving takes your eyes off the road for 4.6 seconds, which is like driving the length of a football field blindfolded. Texting while driving is 6 times as dangerous as driving while intoxicated. That's right, 6 times as dangerous as driving while intoxicated. Not to mention, illegal. During the holidays, we all have lots going on. Parties, shopping, working, wrapping, and decorating. Don't bring those distractions behind the wheel. Distracted driving is a real killer. Enjoy the holidays. Don't become a deadly statistic. A message from the Nevada Insurance Council, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
Unsafe sleep conditions cause serious injury and even death to infants. Never sleep with your baby on a sofa, in a chair, or in an adult bed. Protect the baby you love from becoming a tragic statistic. The only safe place for your baby to sleep is alone, on its back, in a crib, and in your room. For more information, visit cribsforkids.org. That's cribsforkids.org. This message is sponsored by the Division of Public and Behavioral Health, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
Prescription opioids can be addictive and dangerous.
My son was 20 years old when he was prescribed opioids. It took him 5 days to get addicted. I'm not supposed to be the one to go get his suit and tie and pick which sneakers that I'm going to bury him in. My son overdosed at the age of 22 years old.
Prescription opioids. It only takes a little to lose a lot. Visit cdc.gov/RxAwareness.
This is Governor Brian Sandoval. Since 2010 in Nevada, more than 2,800 people have died, and there have been more than 30,000 visits to the emergency room because of opioid overdoses. Opioid abuse rewires a person's brain, leading to addiction. So if there's a chance of addiction for you or someone you love, seek help immediately. Go to healthierNV.org for information and resources.
This message sponsored by the Nevada Department of Health and Human Services, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
Join Mark Patrick Hypnosis and lose weight or stop smoking for only $49.99 guaranteed. Seminars Saturday, January 26th at the Santa Fe Station Hotel and Casino in Las Vegas, and Sunday the 27th at the Hampton Inn Hotel and Suites in Henderson. Weight loss starts at 11 a.m. and stop smoking starts at 2 p.m.
The Cowboys take on the Buccaneers tomorrow morning at 10 on CBS Sports Radio 1140.
Your input is always welcome at 702-889-5978. You're listening to Sports Adrenaline with Tony Cordasco, John Castanino, Matt Gutierrez, and Haley Brooks.
David Jablonski from the Dayton Daily News now joins us to talk about this past week's announcement of the Atlantic 10 of the Mountain West Conference Basketball Challenge. It begins in the 2021 season, and from what we hear, it's a 2-year agreement. It will feature 10 games in late November and December, with each league hosting 5 games. So welcome to the show this morning, David. And what has the reaction been around the A10 as this series will begin in a couple of years? Let's start with your head coach there that you cover on a daily basis, Anthony Grant at Dayton.
Well, I can speak more on what Dayton Athletic Director Neil Sullivan thinks. I've talked to him more over the years about scheduling. Grant's only been here the last 2 years, but his predecessor, Archie Miller, always used to say scheduling for Dayton, second hardest thing he had to do behind recruiting. Dayton, for whatever reason, for a lot of reasons, I guess, has a lot of trouble scheduling. To get really good teams to come to UD Arena is not easy. They've had some Southeastern Conference teams come up every year, but beyond that, St. Mary's came a couple years ago. There was a 2-game series with them, but they really have trouble scheduling the type of games they're going to get in this Mountain West series. So I think Dayton will be in favor of it. There's obviously the travel issue going all the way across the country for one game is not ideal. Dayton did it, for St. Mary's a couple years ago. Really, it's going to depend on who they play. If they get, one of the top 3 or 4 teams, which will depend on how they do this year, it's going to be a great thing for Dayton. Because those games are otherwise just so hard to get for them.
And David, Matt Gutierrez here. Thanks for joining us. Talking about the schedule and bringing certain teams in, Mountain West has been down the last couple of years, but historically has been a pretty solid conference. You look at Nevada now, being one of the top teams in the nation. UNLV has the name always. San Diego State's been great. Boise, Fresno. Which conference do you think overall this matchup tournament benefits? Who's going to reap the rewards of having these guys come into their building?
I think it's pretty equal. I mean, I was just looking at the Ken Palm rankings of conferences right now. The West Coast is, or the Mountain West is number 11. Atlantic 10's right ahead of them at number 10, but there's not a big gap there. They've actually been passed by the Mid-American Conference, which would have been unthinkable, 5 or 6 years ago, especially for the A10, which, 2014, when Dayton made the Elite Eight, they had 6 teams in the NCAA tournament. This year, they're probably going to get 1 unless some team just runs away with the conference and then loses in the conference tournament and another team sneaks in. It's probably going to be a 1-bid league, which is pretty shocking for A10 fans who almost always have 3 teams in. So I think it's equal. I think those 2 conferences are pretty close right now. So, I don't know. Obviously, both are down right now. Whether that's going to continue, whether it's just an aberration, time will tell. I think A10 fans hope that their conference will rise again.
David Jablonski is joining us from the Dayton Daily News. And, they said that they wanted to alleviate the non-conference scheduling problems. But, again, now you have this travel schedule that's created a new set of problems. We're Rebel fans here, in the local market, alums and what have you. But the furthest city that they could send UNLV to is probably where? Kingston, Rhode Island? So, I mean, they will send UNLV.
That would be it, yeah.
Yeah, they're going to send the Rebels there. Because remember, well, no, in the Missouri Valley, the Rebels had to go to Wichita State back-to-back years. They're going to screw them there.
Oh, yeah.
But San Diego State, I think, has been the most outspoken. And head coach Brian Dutcher says that they could easily play a Pac-10 team over a A10 team. So San Diego State is just whining about this. They have the dissenting vote for the challenge. 10-1 was the vote here. And their closest trip would be St. Louis, 1,557 miles away. So are there any concerns now for a school like Dayton, it does make sense, right? They can't schedule a lot of the powerhouse teams. Not saying that the Mountain West is full of powerhouse teams, just one now this season. But what do you think, as far as on the return? I mean, will we hear a lot of the same concerns coming out of the A10?
I'm sure there are coaches with those concerns. Dayton flies charters to every game, so traveling across the country is not as big a deal for them. They can come and go as they please, and part of their scheduling problems are their own doing because they won't go play on the road against a team if that team isn't going to come back to UD Arena. Not every team in the conference is going to have that philosophy. Some teams are going to be willing to go play at a higher power conference team and know that team won't come back and play them. So Dayton played Auburn this year and then Auburn came to Dayton last year. Same with Mississippi State, Arkansas, a bunch of SEC teams over the years. So yeah, if you don't have as much trouble scheduling like San Diego State, yeah, it doesn't make sense for you to travel all the way across the country to play Rhode Island, and Kingston is not easy to get to, even from Dayton. So I imagine it's not easy to get to from Las Vegas. So
yeah, mark it down.
Yeah,
mark it down. UNLV versus Rhode
hey,
Island in
it's
2020.
beautiful this time of year. Let me tell you, those beaches are great in December. I've been there many times.
David, John Castanino here again. Thanks for hopping on with us this morning. I've got a specific matchup that I'll just throw out to you. Clearly, again, as Matt said, the marquee team in the Mountain West is UNR right now. He said Nevada. I'll call it Reno because that's what we call it.
I was trying to be politically correct, John.
Nope,
Reno.
I'm not politically
Don't
correct.
start now.
David, I mean, a matchup against UNR would obviously be high on the priority list for Dayton, right? Maybe pull off an upset. Certainly, Nevada would be kind of the juiciest prize in the conference.
Yeah, right now. I mean, those things can change. I don't know what Nevada will look like in 2 years. It's quite a bit far away in the college basketball world. And Dayton, 2 years ago they would have been the premier team to play in the A10, and now it's St. Louis, Davidson. Although I think Dayton will contend in the league this year, and they'll be back up again next year with some of the transfers they got on the bench. So yeah, it's going to be interesting how they match it up. There's definitely going to be teams that aren't happy with who they get. But I don't know how else you do it. And there are 14 A10 teams, despite the A10's name. There are 14 teams, and only 11. So there are 3 teams in the A10 that won't get to play anybody in the Mountain West. So that'll be another interesting thing.
David, I'm always curious how much weight the UNLV name carries with it for people that are outside the market, especially being on the other side of the country. If UNLV was to come into Dayton and play the Flyers, would there be a buzz surrounding that? Because you go back to the Tark days, and even when Lon Kruger was here and they made the Sweet 16 run, there always seems to be that I don't know, that kind of stigma that goes along with being from Las Vegas and kind of that excitement level. Is that still the case when you're outside looking in on this program, or have they fallen so far that it doesn't even matter anymore?
There would be a little bit of a buzz. It would probably depend on how good that UNLV team that came to UD Arena would be in a couple of years if that happened. That would be more important than their history. Although obviously UNLV coming to UD Arena is more interesting than Presbyterian, who Dayton plays today. So
the Blue Hose. The Blue Hose.
The Blue Hose. Yeah.
Yeah.
I like their nickname more than their history. They haven't even been in Division I that long. Really, 2007. So yeah. So there would be more buzz than some of the opponents Dayton brings in, but the same buzz as it would have happened 20 years ago. No, probably not. Yeah, that would be an interesting opponent. I think Dayton should play Boise State because. What was it, 3 or 4 years ago, Boise State came to Dayton and played in the first 4 at UD Arena against Dayton. A lot of people saw that as unfair, so I think Dayton should have to go back to Boise State. That would be only fair for Boise State fans.
Do you get excited about, you guys every year host the first 4 in the NCAA tournament, and you've seen some good matchups there at Dayton.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of good teams over the years, and that's definitely a point of pride for the University of Dayton that they get to host that for many years now. You never know who's going to show up, but with those usually some premier programs that are just sneaking into the NCAA tournament, along with 4 of the bottom seeds in the tournament. But always some good games, and Dayton likes to see itself as, especially with their arena, as one of the epicenter of college basketball, at least when it comes to March, because that arena has hosted more tournament games than any other arena in the country. Yeah, it's always exciting. For 4 years, I didn't get to see any of those games because Dayton was in the tournament every year, but I saw a few games last year.
Well, thank you so much, David Jablonski, for joining us, and thanks for scheduling the UNLV Dayton game in 2020.
I'm looking forward. I know there's a lot of gambling Dayton fans who would love to come out and watch some.
Come on down. Thank you so much, David Jablonski from the Dayton Daily News. Stay tuned. We've got much more on the way, and when we return, we talk Runnin' Rebel basketball. UNLV meets Hawaii today in the Diamond Head Classic. Joel Tomboy will be joining us next. He'll talk about the season, his first trip to the islands, and much more. We'll hear from the talented freshman next on CBS Sports Radio 1140 AM.
All my friends need a little money.
This is Lily, Utah's regional manager. I've been with Dollar Loan Center for over 8 years. Happy holidays! Recently, Mike came in and needed $1,000 to get his dog out of the vet after an emergency surgery. They had been trying to get a loan all day, but every company they applied at required them to have a checking account. They didn't have one.
Yep, pets get very expensive when they have to go to the vet. So what happened?
We were able to process the loan over the phone since they had all their info right in front of them and got them approved.
Weekend, you don't have to wait until Monday to get the help you need right now. We have people standing by, ready to take your call, ready to give you free advice, and ready to help you get the medical attention you need. We are the 24/7 injury attorneys, and we're available to get you the help you need right now. At Glenn Lerner Injury Attorneys, we know that car wrecks don't take the weekends off, and neither do we. If you've been hurt in a wreck over the weekend, you don't have to wait until Monday to get the help you need right now. We have people standing by, ready to take your call, ready to give you free advice, and ready to help you get the medical attention you need. We are the 24/7 injury attorneys, and we're available to get you the help you need right now. Glenn Lerner is the way to go. Call 877-1500.
The Elko Convention and Visitors Authority invites you to plan to attend the 35th National Cowboy Poetry Gathering, the nation's greatest celebration of the American West. Through February 2nd, 2019, celebrating 35 years of rural creativity. The event will bring together cowboys, ranchers, urban and rural people united with their love for the rural West. You'll experience poetry, music, great art, Western films.
You get to that point where your eyes are real heavy. If you let them close for 10-15 minutes, you're good for the rest.
35th Cowboy Poetry Gathering by calling 888-880-5885 or online at westernfolklife.org. Also visit exploreelko.com for all the winter excitement and adventure in the beautiful Ruby Mountains. Create memories in the mountains. Experience the unexpected. Sponsored by the Elko Convention and Visitors Authority and aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and the station.
The skills you can develop as a soldier in the Army National Guard can give you an edge in the high-tech job market of tomorrow. The Guard offers career training to take advantage of your skills in science, technology, engineering, and math that can help give you a leg up to a high-paying and rewarding STEM profession. Get a head start on your career while earning money to pay for college. Log on to nationalguard.com to learn about all of the STEM career opportunities in the Army National Guard. Sponsored by the Nevada Army National Guard. Aired by the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station. Darren College, a former NFL Super Bowl champion, signed the most important contract of his life to serve in the Army National Guard.
I've had a lot of military in my family. It's a big part of what my family's done for a long time. I want to go out there and make a difference. I didn't find that working behind a desk, so for me it was a pretty easy decision to make. And then the opportunity to serve my community and serve my country was just icing on the cake.
To learn how to be part of the Army National Guard, log on to nationalguard.com. Sponsored by the Nevada Army National Guard. Aired by the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
Ohio State and UCLA, Kentucky and North Carolina. The CBS Sports Classic this morning at 11:45 on CBS Sports Radio 1140.
The only way to take sports adrenaline with you is the radio.com app. Download it today and search CBS Sports Radio 1140 in Las Vegas and listen to us anytime, anywhere.
Joel Tomboy joins us now, the 6'9" freshman on CBS Sports Radio, 1140 a.m. on the Sports Adrenaline Show. First of all, congratulations on being named the Mountain West Conference Player of the Week.
Thank you so much, sir.
Yeah, I wanted to talk to you about how you're finally feeling. You had an injury, right, that held you out in the early part of this season. Are you totally recuperated, and do you feel comfortable within the system now?
Yeah, actually at the beginning of the season, it's just a little bit harder. But right now, I feel like I'm 100%, so I feel like I'm good to go now.
What was the injury?
I tore my ligament in my left ankle. Yeah.
When did it happen?
I've been right at the beginning of when we started official practices and stuff. That's when it happened.
And it doesn't bother you at all now?
Nah, it doesn't bother me at all again. I'm good to go now.
Joel Tomboy joining us now, and that's the correct pronunciation, right?
Yes, sir.
All right. You just wanted to make sure because the N is silent, right, in your last name.
The N is silent in my last name.
Okay. So we understand that you can guard the 1 through 5 spots, right? That was the scouting report on you. Which position do you feel most comfortable at?
Honestly, I can play all positions. It just depends on the game plan, and it depends on how the coaching staff trying to use me, and I'll just go ahead and execute it.
You seem like that type of a player. You also seem like the player that goes after every loose ball. So where did you learn that work ethic from?
Actually, I learned it from my dad. My dad told me never take a play off. So every time I see a loose ball and anything 50-50, I always go for it.
It looks like you want to fight the guy, though.
Nah, he doesn't look like I'm just a hard guy. I go hard every time.
Yeah. Joel Tomboy is our guest right now on CBS Sports Radio, 1140. You grew up in Belgium, though, right? How did you wind up in the U.S.?
I ended up coming to the U.S. because I ended up getting a high school scholarship, and I got recruited by one of these coaches back in Kansas, and I ended up going out there, play out there for a year, and then after that I transferred. Yeah. I went to another school. And
you went to North Carolina, right? You were in North Carolina at a school, and then you went to Kentucky?
Yeah, I was in North Carolina, and then after that I transferred to Aspire Academy in Kentucky, and that's where I finished my high school career out there.
What was the high school experience like for you?
It's just pretty good. It's just pretty good, actually. Honestly, I just learned how to play the game my senior year, because most of the time, I was just a player who just be on goal all the time. But as soon as I went to Aspire, the coach helped me a lot and teach me how to play the game the right way.
Joel Tomboy is our guest, and at Illinois, that game, I understand that your teammates were trying to get you to shoot more, right? You were open. Is that the case? You wound up with 18 points in that game, but was that the big turning point, do you think, for you in this season so far?
No, that wasn't actually, I just actually, Coach Menzio was telling us, it's all about team. So my teammate was right behind my back, and they kept on encouraging me and stuff, and I had more confidence, and I just kept them going.
Have you always been a good free throw shooter, because you made 2 really clutch free throws in the game against BYU with, 27 seconds to go?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm always a good free throw shooter. I shoot free throw most of the time. A lot of people don't see that, but I spend a lot of time in the gym just shooting free throws.
The Rebels are in Hawaii this weekend. Have you ever been there?
Never been out there. This is my first time, actually.
But so you grew up in Belgium, but let me get this right. So your dad is in Kinshasa, DRC?
Yeah, my dad is from Congo, and he works out there. He'd be back and forth and stuff.
We also talked one time when I was talking to you about the Ali Foreman fight, right? The Rumble in the Jungle. Now, this is 44 years ago, but you were telling me that a lot of people still remember that fight and Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, a lot of people still remember that fight because it's actually one of the biggest fights out there, and it means something. It means a lot. It means something to the country. So a lot of people still remember about that, and they actually have a stadium named that day, I think, if I remember so. Yeah.
And then how was your first semester in college?
My first semester was pretty good. I was just focused on getting better on and off the court and going to school. That's pretty much it.
Thank you so much. Best of luck in Hawaii.
No problem. Thank you so much, sir.
GE Electrical Services, LLC, right here in Las Vegas.
And Joel Tomboy, there's a guy that, we were talking, we went out to the game last week, and he just goes after every rebound. He's just tenacious. I really like his attitude on the court, and he does look like he wants to fight everyone.
Yeah,
he's the Ryan Reeves of UNLV basketball.
He's a 4-year player, too, Tony, which is, he's a good 4-year player, right? So as Menzies is building this kind of thing, that's a kind of player that you can really build a program around. It's the kind of player that Lon Kruger would recruit, right? Now, this one, I guess not necessarily off the beaten path, but maybe flew under the radar a little bit, but 22-11 against BYU, and he looks mean out on the court, Tony.
He looks polished, especially for being a freshman. He gets the game. He's a really skilled guy, and when you look at him out there, he's big, and he's a pretty athletic guy, but he is a big guy out there. You talk about him wanting to fight everybody. I think he's just intimidating in general. When he was taking the free throws down the stretch, who was it for BYU that was kind of chirping at him a little bit?
It might have been Hawes or one of those guys in the lane.
He didn't say a word back to him. He just
gave him
stared
a stare
through
down.
him. He just
Right.
stared right through him.
That's right.
Like, this is going down no matter what you say, and he hit them both.
So an exciting game for UNLV last week over at T-Mobile. Noah Robotham versus BYU with the buzzer beater. Let's talk first about the winning triple. Why not drive for two? Coach Menzies, gamble there because he thought that he would be facing a zone instead of a tight man for man. And hey, guys, it's a good thing that T.J. Haws can't jump. White men cannot jump. I can't jump. T.J. Haws cannot jump, or he would have blocked that shot.
Robotham knew it. He said after the game that he looked at Haas pretty closely, and Haas is the sharpshooter for BYU, not necessarily known as a defender, which, by the way, BYU bringing short shorts back. Really enjoyed seeing that.
Nice tweet. Nice tweet.
But Robotham said he knew. He said he watched film on Haas. He said Haas really just tries to get a hand in your face, doesn't really attack the ball. So Robotham knew that he could get a shot off, and luckily for the Rebels and UNLV fans that can't stand BYU, it went in to win the game.
Well, talk about the final play, too, and what was drawn up. And Menzies talked about it after the game a little bit and said, we wanted to try to move the zone. And
yeah, they wanted to cycle the ball twice, but you don't have enough time. How much time do they did not have enough time. Luckily, you have a senior on the court who was aware of the clock.
Well, here's what kills me is last season, they had a lot of those late game situations, and we talked about it pretty much every time what we were going to see, and it was one of two things. It was either Mooring standing outside from 30 feet, just dribbling the clock down and then chucking a prayer up, or it was Jordan Johnson driving into the lane, going up against two 7-footers and trying to get off a layup, which I think he was blocked on probably 99% of those attempts. There's never, in my opinion, a good play drawn up, and if there is a good play drawn up, we haven't seen it executed yet. It's pretty much the same thing every time, and they got lucky. Robotham hit it wasn't an easy shot. I mean, yeah, it wasn't going to be blocked, but he was moving to his left and kind of faded away and let that three-pointer go and found the bottom of the net. But we need to see more from these late-game situations.
We saw some good perimeter shooting for UNLV and some excellent
best in about a year and a half,
shooting.
Tony. Probably the best in a year and a half for both.
For both, right? 13 three-pointers, 9 of 16 of the first half, and they can 27 of 32 free throws. And they win the game without Shakur Houston in the lineup. He is done. I mean, we saw him on the court pregame, right? He was just standing there, just sending in bounce passes, not in the layup line. He's going to need some sort of surgery on that left knee. And now Coach Menzies is saying that Shakur has to sit down with Coach Menzies, his family, and they have to decide on whether or not he needs surgery. You can tell, right? I mean, you guys can tell. So what is the big holdup here, right? Number one. Number two, is this a guy now that might not come back if he has surgery now to prepare for the NBA? I'd like to see Houston play out the string, play his senior year here, and today's the deadline, right? The number of games for him to be able to get a red shirt for next season.
Yeah, 9's the limit, so it's got to be announced before tip-off time today, I believe, as far as what their intentions are. But it's funny, Marvin Menzies is kind of the anti-Gerard Gallant, like wants to tell you about injuries, right? But maybe he kind of delivers it in an odd way. And it was just strange the way he presented it, considering the situation where he said, hey, either he's going to battle through it or get surgery. Like, okay, well, it's a knee injury, so I would think it's probably nothing that you can battle through if you're talking about surgery here. So that was just odd. And I think we have to anticipate that he's not going to be around for the rest of the season.
When it comes to those types of injuries where they talk about you can battle through it or you have to have surgery, that's generally a meniscus tear because it is something that you can kind of fight through, but you don't have the same push. You don't have the same strength in that knee. It's extremely painful. You can play through it, but you're not the same player. It's impossible to be the same guy out there. And Houston is such a big body inside, banging with those other big boys and going after those rebounds and those putbacks. That explosion is his game, his ability to get up off the floor really quickly. if he's battling a knee injury for the rest of the season, what good is it having him out there?
Right, and that was, I guess, my next point is, so if it is, arthroscopic knee surgery and he's back in a few weeks, that's still something. You don't just come back from that, right? I mean,
No,
it's gonna be
especially in
something
basketball.
to go battling.
But we saw no mobility whatsoever as he was trying to move around on the court. So he's definitely in a lot of pain. UNLV's given up 98 points, guys, in the paint the last 2 games.
They blew a 17-point lead, too, Tony. We have to mention that.
58 points in the paint to BYU. You're not going to win games.
Well, and that doesn't even speak to their inside presence. That speaks to their inability to cover anybody one-on-one on the perimeter. I mean, guys were making one move at the top of the three-point line and getting through the paint like there was nobody there. I mean, the lack of perimeter defense is kind of frightening.
Wasn't it the last time that UNLV played in the islands that they left a player behind? That was Good Luck Okanoba. He quit. Remember? So
you're right, man.
So are we going to see Tervel Beck? Maybe.
Yeah, what is going on with Beck?
Well, Coach, as we said, John, first game when we were out there at the Thomas and Mack, I said something's not right about Beck and his body, right? I said, did he put on a lot of weight?
He looked different to you. I thought it was the old eyes.
No, I've got 4 of them. I should do okay. But Beck, played 5 minutes at Illinois, didn't play against BYU, and Coach Menzies finally comes out and says that he's lost 10 to 15 pounds over the last 3 weeks. So it was a weight issue.
So he's earning his playing time back. I like Beck.
I like Good Luck Okanoba.
Yeah.
Stay tuned. Much more on the way. When we return, UNLV football will be the topic on the Sports Adrenaline Las Vegas show right here on CBS Sports Radio, 1140 a.m.
GE Electrical Services LLC right here in Las Vegas is proudly saluting U.S. military.
All right, we're back here on Facebook, guys. Thanks for tuning in. We're going to we're figuring out what we want to do here for these live streams. So now we're in a commercial break, so we figured we'd use this time to maybe answer any questions that you guys have. We're waiting for Rudy Ruettiger to show up. He's going to be here around 9 o'clock, and then he'll be on our 9:15 segment. So we're really excited to see him. So if you have any questions about Rudy, fire away. If you have any questions about our ugly sweaters, fire away as well. Jonathan had a great comment here about the 17-point lead. Yeah, that kind of gets buried in that BYU game. So thanks for commenting, Jonathan. No excuse for that. But you knew BYU was going to make a run in that game. Good shooting team, very good disciplined team. Not the same Dave Rose team that you typically see. I was actually unimpressed with BYU. I thought they would play a lot better in that game.
I wasn't even so much concerned with the way BYU played as I was shocked at the way UNLV played because they hit shots. This team has been so poor shooting the ball, and they were able to shoot over the top of BYU. So I thought that was the most impressive thing. I like the lineup he threw out there with Juicin being hurt. Tom Way was, I mean, he's a matchup nightmare out there on that wing. So bringing in the 2 guards. I think you need to see more of that. I think you need to get away from that double post presence that Menzies likes to run. You don't have 2 offensive post threats. Why are you trying to run an offense through 2 post guys? You don't have the talent for that on that team. Yeah. I mean, Mbake is going to be your go-to guy inside. That's never. He can't catch the ball. First of all, that's never going to happen.
We had talked, or we were going to mention it during the show, but now we have a moment. Marvin Menzies after the BYU game saying, "I didn't expect them to play zone." I mean, it's just how does a head coach at a major mid-major Division I school come out and just admit that they didn't prep for the zone?
It up, John, because they used the timeout. That was a major improvement.
I know, right? Baby
but it's
steps.
taken them 3 seasons to get to that point. How much longer do we have to wait to see a winning program?
Right.
Another comment from Jonathan. He seems like a pretty in-tune Rebel fan. How about Georgie and wasting a scholarship? Shlavanshanen.
Yeah, so here's a guy that was, at the start of the season, was a sophomore, and now he's a junior. So they're trying to accelerate, him to get him out of here.
Yeah.
He wasn't, I mean, they're going to make him a senior.
I think Rudy just pulled up in his big van. He's got something. Yeah, he's got something big. So Rudy Ruettiger is here. I'll probably run out and get him, guys, and bring him in for the start of this next. What's in the next segment? Football?
Football.
Yeah. Okay. So you can. I guess I'll go get him. You can toss to my sound.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. We're gonna switch back to the feed here, guys. Thanks for listening.
The Army National Guard is committed to keeping
safe and our community secure. Composed of hundreds of thousands of citizen soldiers from all walks of life, the Guard is always ready to respond to local or national emergencies. We protect the homeland. We're always there when called upon, and in every state and territory, we stand guard for our communities. To learn more, log on to nationalguard.com.
Sponsored by the Nevada Army National Guard, aired by the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
The Army National Guard is committed to keeping the country safe and our communities secure. Composed of hundreds of thousands of citizen soldiers from all walks of life, the Guard is always ready to respond to local or national emergencies. We protect the homeland. We're always there when called upon, and in every state and territory, we stand guard for our communities. To learn more, log on to nationalguard.com.
Sponsored by the Nevada Army National Guard, aired by the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
The Cowboys take on the Buccaneers. Tomorrow morning at 10 on CBS Sports Radio, 1140.
We've got you covered, Las Vegas. Reach out to us. Tweet at Adrenaline LV. Find us on Facebook, Sports Adrenaline LV, or call us now at 702-889-5978. This is the Sports Adrenaline Show on CBS Sports Radio, 1140 AM.
The topic, UNLV football, and Wednesday was National Letter of Intent Early Signing Day. The Rebel football program signed 15 players, 9 3-stars, and the focus was on the UNLV defense. Still more on hand to hand out, more scholarships to give away for February 2nd signing day. And our John Castanino caught up with Rebel head coach Tony Sanchez.
Same drill, seems like you've reached the point now to where when you go out and recruit, you don't say, hey, we really need to get like 6 offensive linemen in here, or we need to get 6 DBs. Just talk about, that's not necessarily a luxury, but it's nice to just go out there and get the best players available. Is that kind of what you did?
No doubt. You're sitting there, I remember, year one, it really was rationing things out, and it took, a couple of years to build the roster up the way it needed to be. So now you're always going to have a couple flex spots. You have to bring in so many guys in each position each year, but it's not the volume like you said. So you can save 4 or 5 for just athletes, for transfers, for just the best guy available on the board. So having that is it's a big deal.
You talk about, wins and losses on the field and how they matter. I know wins and recruiting matter. Are you going out there and are you getting more wins the more you talk about UNLV and the more you show off what's going around UNLV football?
Absolutely. When we just, we show the facilities we're building, the things that we're doing, but even when we show the data of just winning, we're winning more than we have. We're more competitive than we have been in the last, previous 10 years before we got here. So you can literally just show them hard data, the facts, and exactly what you're doing. 12 losses by 1 score or less. And so when you're talking to guys like, hey, you're that difference. You're that guy that can come in and bridge that gap and get us into the postseason and get us fighting for Western Division championships. And I think there's some dynamic guys on our team, some guys that have accomplished a lot. Again, you see the infrastructure that's being invested in right now. You see the vibrance and growth of Las Vegas. You start putting that all together. Our guys coming in believe they can be the difference makers. They can be the guys that come on in and really create something special here.
You touched on it just then, and you mentioned it during the press conference, but let's talk about facilities, and obviously the practice facility and the Raiders facility going up, and again, recapture what their looks are on their faces when they see what's happening, and it's kind of hard to say no to that, right?
Well, it is. It's intriguing. You might have guys that come on in, and they're not sure what to expect, and I think when you come to Las Vegas and you visit the city, that right there alone is like, oh, wow, this is a lot different than I thought. When you go in and you're in Henderson, you're in Summerlin, you're in Las Vegas, you take them over your current stadium and you show them around. That's a big thing. But then you show them the new football stadium that we're going to share with the Raiders, Las Vegas Stadium, and they just get overwhelmed. Like, wow, this is unbelievable. And then you show them the guts and the videos of it and everything. And you actually show them the model of it, and it's pretty overwhelming. Then you walk them in, you throw hard hats on, and you walk through the Fertitta football complex, and that blows them away. When they're sitting there and they're on the second floor and they're looking, you can see Las Vegas Boulevard to the right, you see the practice fields to the left, and you're looking down on a 10,000 square foot weight room and a dining hall across the way, and team theaters and training rooms, and you name it. They look around and go, okay, wow. Why not? Why not UNLV?
And you made a great point again during the press conference about you have to work a little harder on the local kids to sell the program. You feel like you're making some inroads that way.
Absolutely. You know, one of the good things is the local kids that have come here, they've all contributed and done really well. You know, you look at guys like Jaron Caldwell and Julio Garcia, you know, and Donovan Outlaw and Zach Singers, and I mean, and that's just to name a few. There's a lot of local guys that have come here and played a lot and been really successful. So, you know, that's one of those intriguing things. And, you know, again, when they see now, again, we're having a little bit more success, we're starting to build, you know, the investments being made, it gives them more of a reason to want to stay home. And we got two great local guys today.
Last question, momentum, right? You had momentum at the end of the season. You guys beat San Diego State. You get the cannon back. Do you feel like this recruiting class continues that momentum and it's going to carry into, obviously, February?
I do. You know, one of the biggest things is we had some good momentum early on in the season. I mean, I think even going into the bye week at 2-2, there were so many positives happening, and we just hit that roadblock. We just hit, you know, a big lull, and that was tough. You know, really hit us in the gut. But then for our guys to have the moxie to come around to finish the year with, you know, one on the road at San Diego State, you know, tough loss to, you know, to Hawaii, and then, you know, winning the Cannon, beating Reno here at home, great comeback victory. It showed what we were capable of doing, and it showed how invested our guys are in this program and what we're doing right here. So when we go out on the road and we sell that and they see that, and 2 of those 3 games were on national TV too, which is a big deal, so everybody sat up and got to watch those. So that's really exciting, and I know our guys believe in what we're doing.
Tony Sanchez. John, I was there at the press conference. I didn't see any change in the demeanor of Tony Sanchez. He does not seem like a coach who's under the gun, but as we know, he has to go to a bowl game or else.
Well, and he's you know, he's sticking to, I guess, whatever his philosophy is, right, about recruiting and about coaching, right? I mean, you look at the season, defer, and get scored on all season long. So he's sticking to his guns, for better or worse. So we'll just see how it pans out. I mean, a lot of people are really excited, and I hate to admit it, fanboy in me, but, you know, recruiting and the cannon, the momentum is there, and I'm a little excited about UNLV football. Yeah, Matt has no excitement, though.
None. Well, I mean, show me where I should be excited. Yeah, you won the cannon again. Great. You have yet to have a winning season. You have yet to have a 500 season. You haven't been to a bowl in how many years now? That's winning the cannon does not propel this program forward. That only matters to the 500 fans that are at Sam Boyd. I mean, that's not enough to get this program going. They've got to start winning games.
I'm going to continue to predict that UNLV will go to a bowl game, this time led
Maybe
by
eventually
Vegas
you'll be right.
Vic Veramontes until he meets his Vegas Vicky. Okay, coming up in the next hour, Rudy Ruettiger will be live in the studio.
He's here.
He is here. We'll talk Notre Dame football, the movie Rudy, much more. And Chris Trapasso from CBS Sports, the draft expert. But the first look at the Raiders draft board, that's coming up. Stay tuned for hour number 2. Straight ahead, Rudy's in studio next on the Sports Adrenaline Las Vegas show, CBS Sports Radio, 1140 a.m.
Rent-A-Stay.
Bringing Rudy.
Selling a home is super 90s, and with no
Let's get a photo.
Yeah. Picture.
Can you take a picture?
I don't know. I guess so.
You want to get in one?
I'm just kidding.
You want to get in one though?
It's okay.
For your pops?
No, but I'll take a picture.
You sure?
Yeah.
Telling you, man, you can get in one.
I'm okay for now.
Rudy, all right, Matt Gutierrez.
I don't have my business here.
Tony Cordasco, don't make fun. Don't judge me. Can we get a photo?
Renters Warehouse will take the calls. Service pros and make sure your renters play by the rules, so you can boldly go back to your life. But more importantly, build that Rent-A-Stay portfolio and carve out a sweet little cash cushion like other well-rested, stress-free Smarty Pants Rent-A-State heavyweights have before. Rent-A-State is a trademark of Renters Warehouse.
Matt
We said it earlier, and it's still there.
We're gonna have you right there on the right there.
Right here?
Yep.
All right.
You got a headset for you.
Headset.
How have you been? Good. Staying busy, I'm sure, right?
Staying busy.
Yep. You planning on going to any Notre Dame games here coming up? Maybe maybe a big bowl game.
You not going?
No, wouldn't you rather stay home and watch it?
We're getting to that point, aren't we? Yeah, we're getting to that point. Yeah, we're getting to that point. There's no question about it.
You fight the traffic.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Yeah, I'm invited to go, but I'm not going to go.
Yeah, understood.
I'd rather watch
No, I don't blame you.
Now, if they go to the national championship, would you be there?
I don't know. Still, it's a lot of people talk to you, don't watch the game.
Right. That's true. right?
Yeah, you don't
That's
get
true.
to really
Yeah, if you want to
enjoy the
experience
game.
or enjoy the game, you probably shouldn't go.
Well,
You have to go incognito, sunglasses and hat, and indoors, right?
Well, you already experienced the whole feeling.
Yeah.
In a lot of different ways, but my whole point is people just want to talk.
Yeah.
And you can't ignore them.
They're all experts.
They just want to talk. They're not interested in the game.
They don't care about the game.
They don't care.
I know, you're right, though. I definitely want to just watch the game.
Yeah, that's what I like, you know. I like this new stadium being built for...
I'm Peter Schwartz. Week 16 in the NFL commences today with a pair of games. You could certainly call Game 1 an elimination game as the Redskins take on the Titans, as both teams are hoping to keep their playoff hopes alive. Titans quarterback Marcus Mariota sizes up the Redskins defense.
They've got some veteran guys kind of throughout, and they've done a good job getting at the passer. And from what I've seen, they do a good job attacking the football. So again, ball security for us is going to be important, making sure that no matter what, we finish every play with the ball.
Kickoff 4:30 Eastern time. After that game, the Ravens visit the Chargers. The Ravens are in possession of the 6th seed in the AFC as head coach John Harbaugh brings his team to a soccer stadium for a big game.
I think it'll be pretty good, actually. You know, I mean, over the years, you play in smaller stadiums, and they turn out to be really great and really fun and tight, you know, and loud. So just not really worried about it. I mean, it's the game we're thinking about, but it'll be interesting, and I think it'll be kind of exciting.
Kickoff at StubHub Center, 8:20 Eastern time. Chargers have won 4 in a row, and they're battling the Chiefs for the #1 seed in the AFC. The Texans look to wrap up the AFC South tomorrow when they visit the Eagles. Texans head coach Bill O'Brien says this will be a tough task.
It's a big challenge. You know, there's a lot of areas we have to improve in. They're ranked in the top 10 on defense in red area and third down. Obviously, we didn't do very well there offensively last week, so we've got to really try to work hard to improve.
Kickoff tomorrow, 1 Eastern. The Raiders express an interest in playing their home games next season at AT&T Park in San Francisco. Rams running back Todd Gurley, a game-time decision for tomorrow's game against the Rams because of tomorrow's game against the Bengals because of Cardinals, because of a left knee injury. College football, noon Eastern time kickoff for the Birmingham Bowl, Memphis and Wake Forest, 3:30 Eastern. The Armed Forces Bowl, Houston and Army, 7 Eastern. Dollar General Bowl, Buffalo and Troy, 10:30 Eastern. The Hawaii Bowl, Hawaii and Louisiana Tech. College basketball today, the 5th annual CBS Sports Classic at the United Center in Chicago. Coverage here on CBS Sports Radio begins at 2:45 Eastern time. In the first game, Ohio State faces UCLA. In game 2, it's Kentucky taking on North Carolina. From baseball, the Dodgers yesterday trading outfielders Yasiel Puig and Matt Kemp along with pitcher Alex Wood, backup catcher infielder Kyle Farmer, and $7 million to the Reds for pitcher Homer Bailey, who is going to be released, and a pair of prospects. I'm Peter Schwartz.
NFL scores, highlights, and more with Rich Ackerman and Eye on Football. Be listening tomorrow at noon Eastern, 9 a.m. Pacific on CBS Sports Radio. The only way you can take CBS Sports Radio 1140 with you is the radio.com app. Download it today and listen to us anytime, anywhere. We've got you covered, Las Vegas. Interviews, insights, and your input are all part of Sports Adrenaline. Here are your hosts, Tony Cordasco, John Castanino, Matt Gutierrez, and Haley Brooks on CBS Sports Radio, 1140 a.m.
Welcome back to hour number 2 on the Sports Adrenaline Las Vegas show. And it is hard to believe that the movie Rudy came out 25 years ago now. Rudy Ruettiger live with us in studio. Don't judge us with our ugly sweaters today, please.
No,
I know. Hold back the laughter and don't add us if you're out there on social media.
Right.
But that's hard to believe. That's anniversary was just celebrated. 25 years, right?
It went fast. It goes fast. It's like watching your children grow fast. And it's amazing how time goes when you're busy and when you're doing good things. It goes real fast.
Now, how many times have you personally watched the movie?
I don't know about me personally, but I was involved with the movie, putting the movie together. So you see all the things you don't want to see that we don't tell people about, and they never see them. So I watch the movie much differently today than if I would watch it maybe years ago. It's a good message, very emotional movie. Stick to it attitude. And the movie's being, I get amazed, it's being brought in by teachers and corporations to their clients and to the kids, and they're using the Rudy way, which is fascinating to me. The message works, and that's why the Rudy movie works. In fact, it was rated #1 in USA Today of all football movies ever made, because it's not a football movie. It is, but it's more of a message.
Well, and the thing that I just love about it, you know, and I'll catch it whenever it's on TV and show my kids, it's just so timeless. I mean, are you seeing that, you know, again, it's a new like we grew up on it, right? I'm 38, pushing 39. You know, that's a movie that I grew up on and watched constantly growing up. Are you seeing the younger generation get into your story?
Yes, I was just at a foundation last night, and they give out the Rudy Award to the kids, and you know, Ryan Wolfington, it's the tennis academy. It's amazing what these kids have done. They come from nowhere. They do the honesty school program, and most of them, 100 and over 100 kids, ended up in top universities from Dartmouth to Yale.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, these kids but they use tennis, and they use the leadership skills. It's fascinating to me, but they use the Rudy message. And I go around the country, I see that all the time. Just in Wisconsin, they showed the movie to the kids, 6th graders. And, you know, then you basically ask them, what you get out of that movie? Man, they're right on. From perseverance, don't let people steal your joy, all that. We just come out with a documentary called Rudy Ruettiger, The Walk-On. I would advise you to watch that. It's on Amazon Prime. It's cool. We start with kids. We end with kids. It is in the generations.
My son is getting ready to go into high school next school year, and he's seen the movie a couple of times, and he loves it, and he was super excited that you were going to be joining us today. How you talked about your involvement in the movie and being hands-on. How proud of the finished product were you, and everything that went into not only what you went through, but then having the opportunity to go in and make the movie?
Well, I was more excited about the people who got involved. The actors were very passionate. The director was very passionate. Writer very passionate. All the producers very passionate about the message, and the writer hated Notre Dame.
So, USC grad.
Who hates Notre Dame? Come on.
He's a IU grad.
Oh, okay.
But he didn't even want to write another sports movie. But because of the message, he got it, and he wanted to write it. Charles Dunt's a great example too, who played the janitor. He was in prison for 10 years and
really
got his life back, accepted the Lord, and he went from jail to Yale, and he saw this movie as a great opportunity to give a great message to people who want to give up and change their attitude, change their thoughts. Your life will change. And that, I thought he gave a great message.
Rudy Ruettiger is with us. And what was Coach Eric Parsegian like? So you walk into his office, and I watched the movie.
That's a true moment.
Okay, I watched the movie from like my umpteenth time just to get in the mood to have you here and what have you. But you walk into his office, you get accepted to Holy Cross, you go to the campus, you walk into Parsegian's office, and you say that you're going to play football at Notre Dame. What was he really like as a coach? Because I consider him an icon.
Well, he is, and a father image at the same time, and a very positive man. He looked at character more than talent. He looked at contribution more than talent. And yet he had talent, don't get me wrong. I mean, there's only so many guys that had the talent on that football team. The rest of us, had to really scrap. And he recognized that. But what he recognized in me, he didn't steal my dream or joy. He could have at that moment very easily, because I'm a junior walk-on. He could say, hey, man, we don't accept junior walk-ons, and you're a little too old for us. Never said that. Said, when you do get in here, you come and see us. We'll be fine. And that, to me, told me a lot about that coach.
I've always wanted to ask you where that drive came from, where that perseverance, that unwillingness to take no for an answer, where did that come from?
You have a shovel?
I do.
You dig a hole?
Every now and then.
Put doubt in that hole. Bury it, and put fear in that hole. That's what I did. Because once I learned to get rid of doubt and fear, everything else was possible. And I buried my fear and buried my doubt by not getting around the people that gave me the doubt and gave me the fear. what you can't do, from teachers to coaches, whatever. It didn't matter. Friends, family, mom, dad. You know, you learn a lot, and you take the good and you leave the bad out. And that's what I did. I learned to do that through the Navy, which you didn't see in the movie. I was in the Navy before Notre Dame. Big part of the whole process. So that documentary, the Rudy Ruettiger, The Walk-On, will show that and show the real people involved in the life of the journey. And it really gives a good example why kids connect to this message and why people connect to this message. Now, this is funny because once the movie came out, there were a lot of guys jealous. You know, and I can't blame them. They didn't understand why they making a movie out of you.
Right.
I'm an all-American, man, and look what I've done. I said, oh, really? Well, I didn't do anything either. I just didn't give up. You did.
Yeah, that's right.
And that to me meant a lot more than winning national championships, because you have to carry this on in life. So, yeah, it wasn't an easy process with your peers or even with your family trying to put this together. They didn't understand it. But the drive came from hope, giving my father hope, and because I'm one of 14. I saw his eyes light up when the Notre Dame score was given, and especially in church.
Yeah,
you know,
how do you find out in church?
The priest.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, okay.
And
Back then, there's no cell
were
phones,
so,
right?
you were so passionate, though, about Notre Dame football.
No,
that was
no,
part of the drive?
No, not Notre Dame football. My dad.
Mm-hmm.
He was passionate. It gave him hope, gave him a reason to work hard, and I wanted to give that gift back. Notre Dame was part of it. Now, you know, it's foolish for me to think I can go to Notre Dame. Think about it. When I'm third in my class in high school from the bottom, you can't go there, dude, and you're not a great athlete. That's the perception people give you. Get rid of those guys, you don't get that perception, and all of a sudden the thing comes in called you can contribute to something great. And that's what I bought into, contribution, and that's what makes it. Coaches today, I go to universities, I see these coaches, and it's all about big money, you know, big plays, big this, big that. Kids are so confused when they get out, but there are a lot of good ones too, a lot of great coaches. And I'm going to tell you one I really love is Dabble Sweeney. When I went to Clemson.
But not that much.
Whether they win or lose, it's not what it's about.
Which team they coach, right?
It's how he takes those kids and makes them family, and he sticks to those kids. And that's what I like. There's a lot of love in that whole university with those athletes, and they work hard, and I see that. Well, other universities, it's more of a machine.
Yeah.
You know.
Rudy Ruettiger with us here in studio, and we could talk about, I mean, I could just soak in your story nonstop, right? And
Sure.
I know you talk about it all the time, but let's switch a little bit. I see you walk in with your keychain. You got a Vegas Golden Knights keychain. You've been living in the Valley for a long time. What do you think about what's happening out here with the Golden Knights and the Raiders? Yeah.
Very, very exciting. Pierre LaCroix called me the other day. He was the general manager of the Colorado Avalanche. 1996, he calls me when I moved to Vegas when they won the Stanley Cup. They used the movie Rudy in their playoffs as they go through the playoffs.
So cool.
Then they win the Stanley Cup. Now he calls me. I don't know who he is. You know, at 6:30 in the morning. Hey, hey, Rudy, you don't know who we are, but we know who you are. We want you to give the rings to our guys. I said, what rings? To myself. Stanley Cup rings. Boy, that's an honor.
Yeah.
You know, and he's been here 20-some years. He just found out I live here, and he just emailed me, we're going to get together next week.
Yeah, I ran into him a few months ago.
Yeah, great guy. I'll never forget Patrick Waugh, Joe Sakic. Yeah, we're here for the rookie camp. When they did the rookie camp, I saw Joe Sakic. And my kid plays for the Junior Knights, Golden Knights, and it's an honor to be around that feeling, that atmosphere. It brought Vegas a new face. Everyone, no matter where I go, you wear this.
An identity, right?
They know who you are. The Knights have created something very positive, which is awesome. Now we got to get that UNLV going.
Yeah,
Can you fix that? Can you help us out?
We harp on it a lot here. We need to get those two programs back to that respectable level that they
championship
deserve.
level.
Yeah.
What was it like, Rudy? You know, before the games, you come down the stairs at Notre Dame. and you touch that "Play Like a Champion" sign.
Mm-hmm.
What is that feeling as you're running out on the field?
Well, I can't explain that to you. Only if you experience it, I could say what it felt like, but you won't know it until you feel it. And that's why I tell people, once you're in that moment, it's a moment of, wow. It's a surreal moment. It really is. I'm not supposed to be here, but I'm here. And there's 59,000 people screaming for the kids, and you're one of them. That's pretty cool. But you're caught up in that whole culture of the excitement of that one little traditional walk you take into the tunnel, into the field. It's a great, and when the captains called me up in front of the line to take him, I think that was kind of like, really? I'm a little embarrassed. You don't want me to do this. You understand? Even when they carried me off, I said, dude, drop me, man. This is, I'm embarrassed. But no, I got used to that ride.
Has that embarrassment turned into a sense of pride now as the years have gone on?
Well, I understand. Now, as I looked back, I look at why they did it and why that one kid went in and gave up his uniform, not the team. One kid.
Just one kid.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you said the movie's 95% accurate?
You don't always say 95. 100% accurate on the message. How's that?
Well, that's good.
Rudy, tell us what's going on with your foundation, the Rudy Foundation and Rudy International.
Well, we've been 25 years. Look at Rudy Football College Awards. We do that. We give scholarships out to kids who are the Rudies. You don't have to be the smartest kid, but the kids who show character and commitment and how they contribute to their class and their school and the courage they had to continue. I remember the first Rudy Award. John Favreau gave it out. We brought him in, and I'll never forget, it was a little girl, a Hispanic girl. Her goal was just to graduate from high school. Nobody in her family ever graduated from high school. But she had a lot of obstacles, a lot of things to go through. And she walked 2 miles to school every day and took care of the family. Her mom was at work because Dad was never around. And she made it, so she got the Rudy Award. But there's many stories like that. And there's many stories. We're still giving the Rudy Award out in corporations, in schools, all over. But it's not broadcasted in a big way. And, I'm kind of, like I said, I'm a little, let it take a life of its own. I don't like promoting the image of Rudy Ruettiger because it's not about me. It's more about the message. So people are into the message. That's why it works.
Well, Rudy, thank you so much for coming by. We
No,
really
wait a minute.
appreciate it.
No. We got a Purdue girl here.
Oh, that's right.
Man, I can't believe you.
Sonia.
She just graduated from Purdue. And
We got to let him tell this story.
It's
so
a
it's
great
a pep rally at Purdue?
Pep rally at Notre Dame. Purdue's coming in.
Okay.
Drew Brees is coming in. And and I'm involved with him in his business called the Walk-On Restaurants in Louisiana. But anyway, make a long story short, I don't know. What do you say? I'm not a rah-rah guy, right? So I'm going to give the weather report to the fans. Notre Dame has, I said, guys, it's here it is, partly cloudy today, little sun, but with little or no breeze. Got it.
Nice.
You like it?
You can walk off on that.
Yeah, let's carry him out of this. We'll carry him out of the studio.
Exactly. That was a good way to leave us.
Rudy Ruettiger, you're the best. Thank you so much. Happy holidays.
You bet. You guys
Thanks
are
for
awesome.
stopping by.
Unis are not that bad. Keep it.
All right. We look like the choir boys.
Well, maybe you belong there.
Sharp over here.
Not Tony, that's for sure.
Yeah,
you can sing, right?
Yeah, Father Burla
There
at
you
Immaculate Conception High School would have been proud. Because
He would have been.
before each game, though,
you got the spirit.
Queen of Victory, pray for us.
Listen,
Queen of Victory,
I
pray
still
for us. That's what we
believe
used to
in.
do. The same thing that Notre Dame did.
Right, I still believe in Santa Claus. So there you go.
There you go. Rudy Ruettiger. Stay tuned. We'll talk Raiders right after this on the Sports Adrenaline Las Vegas show. CBS Sports Radio, 1140 a.m.
This is Liz. I'm a newbie at Dollar Loan Center and work at our amazing location in Fernley. Happy holidays! I just love working with the people in small communities like Fernley. This is exactly why I applied at Dollar Loan Center, and I'm so happy I did. Don't get me wrong, it's cool that we have so many locations in Las Vegas, Reno, and the Salt Lake City area.
You nailed it, Liz. Dollar Loan Center definitely makes sure the smaller areas are covered.
I felt right at home when I started working here, and the customers were welcoming me to their DLC. Carson City, Pahrump, Laughlin, Sun Valley, Provo, Sparks. We have dollar loan centers all around Nevada and Utah. And if you're ever around Fernley, stop in and see our super awesome location. We'll save some cash for you.
Thanks, Liz. Stop by one of our over 50 locations and apply today.
Get a little cash, get a little cash. Down with the deal.
Licensed by Nevada Financial Institutions Division. Customer must meet the normal loan qualifications. To review loan qualifications, visit us at don'tbebroke.com. Certain limitations may apply. Loans are subject to approval.
Unsafe sleep conditions cause serious injury and even death to infants. Never sleep with your baby on a sofa, in a chair, or in an adult bed. The baby you love from becoming a statistic. The only safe place for your baby to sleep is alone, on its back, in a crib, and in your room. For more information, visit cribsforkids.org. That's cribsforkids.org. This message is sponsored by the Division of Public and Behavioral Health, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
Prescription opioids can be addictive and dangerous.
My son Steve did not want to die, but his prescription opioids killed him. We found a Post-it note that he had written about his experience with his opioids. At first, it was a lifeline. Now it is a noose around my neck. You never expect that you're going to lose a child. It's all out of order.
Prescription opioids. It only takes a little to lose a lot. Visit cdc.gov/RxAwareness.
This is Governor Brian Sandoval. Since 2010 in Nevada, more than 2,800 people have died, and there have been more than 30,000 visits to the emergency room because of opioid overdoses. Opioid abuse rewires a person's brain, leading to addiction. So if there's a chance of addiction for you or someone you love, seek help immediately. Go to healthierNV.org for information and resources.
This message sponsored by the Nevada Department of Health and Human Services, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
Hey, sports fans, this is world champion sports handicapper Joe D'Amico, and I am teaming up with the Landmark, Saddles and Spurs Saloon, to bring Monday Night Football back to the Valley. Every Monday, I host an epic event in which we give away signed sports memorabilia, tons of free swag, show tickets, free shots every touchdown, and more laughs than you could ever dream of. So come on down and join us over at Saddles and Spurs Saloon for the most fun you can have with your clothes on.
The Cowboys take on the Buccaneers tomorrow morning at 10 on CBS Sports Radio 1140.
Your input is always welcome at 702-889-5978. You're listening to Sports Adrenaline with Tony Cordasco, John Castanino, Matt Gutierrez, and Haley Brooks.
Oh, that was so much fun. Rudy Ruettiger, thank you so much for
I'm
stopping by.
still buzzing, man. That was...
Yeah, get fired up every time I watch the movie. Thursday night, I was ready to run through a wall.
How many times do you get chills during an interview? That's never happened to me before. That was just talking to that man and hearing those stories. After watching that movie 1,000 times growing up, that was amazing, man.
And I really love what he says. You know, and there's people out there critical of him for whatever reason, but he continues to go back to, it's not about him, it's about the message, and it's about overcoming whatever is in front of you, stopping you from achieving whatever it is you want to do. And how does that story not transcend anything in anybody's life?
We didn't even ask him if he's going to the Cotton Bowl on the air, but he said no. He'd just much rather watch the game at home so he can enjoy the game.
Yeah.
He said people talk.
Oh, yeah, yeah. And how do you not
Have
stop?
you gone to a game with John and Matt? People just talk.
Yeah.
All they do is talk.
They talk over us, not to
Talk
us.
and talk and talk. Let's talk about the Raider Nation. So this could be the final game coming up, Matt. No more tearing up, okay, today? Come on, Matt.
You know, it's funny.
The Raiders in Oakland. Next season, could they be in San Francisco at AT&T Park?
I hope not. Do they need to play on another dirt infield? We talked about it at the beginning of the
How
show.
do we miss AT&T Park? We had all these sites
Because
up
it's
there.
so bad for football. They do a bowl game there every year, and I mean, I guess the positive, if they do play there, is the dirt infield is much like it was in Miami or in San Diego back in the day, or even San Francisco, where it's only on 1/4 of the field. In the Coliseum, it sits right at the 50-yard line and stretches all the way to the 25. So it pretty much takes up the entire field. At least this will be just on one side. So if you're on that end of the field playing defense, you're going to be in trouble.
Matt's got glitter on his face, BTW. Matt has glitter on his face.
Amazing Christmas sweater that you brought in for me today.
Okay, so I could see Derek Carr overthrowing a receiver. Maybe Jared Carr. Jared Carr. Maybe Jared Cook. maybe Jared Cook, right? And he throws the football into McCovey Cove. I could see it happening. I could see it now. Let's talk about
That'd be a
Pro
hell
Bowl
of an
snubs.
overthrow.
Yeah, let's talk about
Big fence out there.
some Pro Bowl snubs. So Jared Cook has to be at the top of the list.
I really like what John Gruden said about that. He said you look at Travis Kelce and what he's done this year, and it's as well as Cook played throughout the season. It's hard to put him over a guy like that, which I agree with. And Cook is an alternate, and deservedly so. He's had a great year. Rodney Hudson is the snub, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the
He's played
absolute
every
snub
snap, right?
of the Pro Bowl, not just the Raiders.
Played every snap.
Every snap. He's the highest-rated center in the NFL.
In the league.
By a long ways, too. It's not even close. That is the absolute snub. He should be way more than an alternate. He should be the starter for the AFC.
We're talking about where the Raiders might play in 2019. Derek Carr said that he wants to play at Bulldog Stadium at Fresno State.
Yeah, why wouldn't
that is a lot bigger. It's a lot bigger of a stadium. It, I think, could be a better fit. It's about 45,000. He told Andrew Catalan in a pre-production meeting before last week's game, but it appears as though, and they now confirm that there have been conversations with San Francisco and with AT&T Park. I think part of the defense is getting better. Carl Joseph, has played every defensive snap, right, the last couple of games. No healthy bodies, or has he earned that position? And does he stay?
I think it stemmed from not having enough healthy bodies out there originally. But, yeah, he's earned the right to stay in the lineup, and I think he should be part of this lineup. I don't know that they won't go out and try to find somebody to play over him, but I think Carl Joseph, I think he can play in this league. He hits harder than anybody on that team, and for his size, that's pretty incredible. They just have to find the right spot for him, whether it's free or strong. I think he'd be better served playing free, but he's a top round guy. He's a first round guy. You can't just throw those away unless he shows that he just can't play this game at that level, and I think that he can. The secondary, though, is it's been so bad throughout the course of the year that it's easy to isolate guys and pick on them if you're the opposing offense. And if you're stuck on an island, unless you're Deion Sanders out there, it's hard to keep up with these guys. And even playing at safety, you can find ways to beat him. But I think he's done well. I think he's gonna be a guy that makes it through the next 95% roster cut that we're gonna go through.
Right.
Going into the next season.
The Raiders' defense not good on Sunday. Neither was the offense. Man, that offensive line just stunk. Geno Atkins had 3 sacks. Hubbard had a couple. How about Gruden after the game about Atkins? He plays in the Pro Bowl in Hawaii or wherever the hell it is now. But anyway, they were just not good. The
Where is it,
offensive line
Orlando?
is really it is Orlando. They were just not good.
No, and
it belongs in Hawaii. Here at the
it'll
new
be
Raiders
here.
Stadium.
It'll be here.
Yeah, the
No-
Pro.
But the problem with that line is not even the fact that they're banged up. It's that they're getting banged up during the game, and that's where it becomes really difficult when you have to start juggling that line in the middle of a drive, in the middle of a game. That's when you have trouble with the communication and the blocking assignments and all of that. It's a different matter when you've got a week to prepare for a game and guys know where they're going to be. Even though most of this line now is patchwork. That's what it's going to be for the rest of the season. But you have a whole week of practice. You understand the calls. You understand the assignments. You can kind of gel as a unit heading into this Monday night game against Denver. But when you start losing 2-3 bodies on that line in the middle of a game, it becomes a disaster. And you saw that last week against Cincinnati. Cincinnati's the worst defense in the NFL, believe it or not. They're ranked below the Raiders, and they looked like the Baltimore Ravens out there.
So what do you make of this football game coming up on Monday night? Denver, do they get charged up? Do they get fired up? They don't need to win the game. They're number 2 right now in the draft order.
That is irrelevant, in my opinion. I don't think any person on that team, on that coaching staff, in that front office cares about where they pick going into this Monday night football game. This is, like we said, potentially the last game at the Coliseum. As much of a dump as that is, it holds a lot of Raiders history in there. Some of the greatest games they've ever played in came out of that stadium. And every single person for the Raiders is going to be charged up for that game. And not only that, it's Monday Night Football, it's Christmas Eve, and it's the Denver Broncos, one of your most hated rivals coming into that stadium. if this is their swan song, if this is their going away party for the Coliseum, you can bet that everybody on that team is going to be charged.
So you'll be happy with a win?
Absolutely.
No.
Where did they draft Khalil Mack? What number? 4. Where did they draft Jamarcus Russell? 1. Don't tell me draft position matters if you have that much problem trying to find the right guy. It's about getting the right player into your system.
I think it does. I beg to differ because you have a Joey Bosa at number 1, and there's probably some drop-off between 1 and 2.
You have Nick Bosa at number 1.
Nick Bosa at number 1. Okay?
But I get that. I understand. Yeah, it's Nick Bosa's a huge get if they can get him. But you don't take for Nick Bosa because you don't know what he's going to be in the NFL. You hope he's going to be great, but you don't go out there and lose your last game at home to your hated rival because you may or may not end up with the number 1 pick. Even if they lose, they could end up number 2 and still not get that pick. So it doesn't matter.
So Coliseum, Monday Night Football, last game. What level of saltiness do you see from the fans? Because I would expect paper bags over their heads. I would expect some sort of protest.
On a scale of
absolutely
on the
not.
You don't think so at
one,
all? Nothing.
at all.
On the salty scale of 1 to iodine, where does this rate?
No, the Raider fans are going to be loud. They're going to be, again, it's Monday Night Football in Oakland against the Broncos.
What about like fire Libby Schaff signs? You think there will be a lot of those?
Maybe, yeah. Maybe towards them, but not towards the Raiders.
Right.
This is about going out and winning a game. And I've been to that stadium when this team is 0-10 with nothing to play for on a primetime game with the Chiefs in there, and it was a playoff atmosphere in that Coliseum. That's what happens with Raider fans against their rivals in primetime. It's going to be nuts in there.
And they've beefed up security, I suppose, right? That's what they said, at least.
I don't think there's going to be any issues outside of just normal game day issues that you have.
So does AT&T Park have a better X-ray machine?
I would imagine.
Than the Coliseum.
The Giants have won a few World Series in the last 10 years, so they should be okay over there.
Yeah, who's left though for the Raiders? I mean, they're so banged up right now, and that patchwork offensive line, they're not going to win this game.
I think they will. I really think they will. I think you're going to have guys playing their best game of the season out there, and we've seen in the last month that Carr started to gel. He started to find this offense. If he's given any kind of time whatsoever, he's going to pick you apart. He still hasn't thrown an interception in 300 straight pass attempts now, past Rich Gannon for the franchise record there. He's only a couple hundred yards away from 4,000 yards on the season. I think you're going to see a performance.
Listen, you've got to get the fans in San Antonio fired up about this team. I'm put it on the board, San Antonio.
No, they're going to go to AT&T.
I know
that
they say, but I say San Antonio.
I still say Mexico City. So.
Hot take.
Yeah.
Still on the Mexico train.
But the inside word that I have, is that the Raiders want to be a 500 team by the time they get to Las Vegas in 2020.
Oh well, hey, what a
Can they
concept.
do that? Can they do that?
I hope so.
Next year?
Well,
Certainly. Can they do that?
The fan base is going to be excited enough to show up for the first couple seasons nonetheless.
But that's their goal, is to make it all the way up to 500 team next year, playoffs in 2020, Super Bowl in 2021. You're listening to the Sports Adrenaline Las Vegas show right here on CBS Sports Radio, 1140 a.m.
One of the funniest shows in Vegas is the Blue Man Group.
3-13 in.
Hey everybody on Facebook, thanks for tuning in, watching us on the stream. So we're just on a commercial break here. Michael Wynn, thanks for chiming in. Well said, Matt. I think you're talking about Matt's saltiness quote.
I don't even know if we're going to get it.
We just had Rudy Ruettiger in here earlier. That was an awesome
we can go back
segment with him once the show's over. That'll post here up on Facebook.
Anyway.
But any thoughts on Raider Nation and where they're playing next year? I say San Antonio. I think
next year they jumped to 7-9.
maybe Jerry Jones wouldn't really like that, but I think San Antonio might be the destination, or San Francisco.
From Toyota, and they said that our goal, they told me that their goal is to be 500 by next season in their meeting. They said the organization, our goal is to be 500.
They can be. No, you don't think they can be 500?
I think next year they're in that 6-7 win round. Well, first of all, we got to see what they do in the draft.
Right.
They have to nail those 3 first-round picks. Nail. I mean, they can't even come close to a project guy.
What sound do we have again? Golden Knights?
No, it's just whatever. Flurry.
Put anything else in?
Yeah.
We can pull up Flurry if you want.
Yeah, I mean, what do you tell us?
So, go to that Sports Adrenaline page again on YouTube.
Coach Bola said that interview was great. Thanks. He said thanks.
Hey, how's Coach doing?
Any idea?
He's just a tough son of a bitch.
Yeah,
He's
right?
a really tough guy, and yeah, you know, he's just a real tough guy, and he won't tell you if he's.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'll tell you when to cut it. I'm not going to go the full 4 minutes.
You want me to start it right when it starts, right?
Start it at.
So Golden Knights next segment, and then we've got Raider draft talk afterwards.
If he comes on,
yeah.
He's delayed.
Oh, I didn't hear that part. Yeah, gotcha.
Where I decided.
2010 in Nevada, more than 28
Gotcha.
And there's been more than 30,000 visits to the emergency room because of opioid overdoses. Opioid abuse rewires a person's brain.
Well, we can talk about,
If there's a chance of addiction,
well, I mean, plenty of stuff, clearly, but the back-to-back here.
for information and resources.
This message sponsored by the Nevada Department
Subban getting a win.
Services, aired in cooperation with the Nevada Broadcasters Association and this station.
The skills you can develop as a soldier.
Your audio is so hot.
Yeah.
So you can hear us.
Well, it's just,
about
it's,
Ebola.
yeah. So during the breaks, I'm taking it off, and then it's just, it's finicky as far as the levels go. So thanks for whoever's texting Tony about levels.
It's hot. It's hot. Though.
Yeah, it goes hot, and then it's too low during the show. So we're trying to figure out the balance here. And it's just my voice carries very well on the iPad. So again, hey, people stand on top of our audio. See, that's why audio is critical, Tony. Marc-Andre Fleury sound coming up this segment. Talk to him about 424 wins, 9th all time.
Just be ready.
240, okay.
Yeah, I'll.
Sonia, what'd you think of that Notre Dame Purdue story?
I liked it.
You
That's
did?
funny.
Yeah, okay. Sonia, our producer extraordinaire, has never seen Rudy, and she should be embarrassed about that, but she's not.
I know. I was
And we're not sure that she's going to watch it. Well, I wanted you, I should have had you try to search for the Rudy music, because that's, I'll hear the music.
That
and
music's
then that's
phenomenal. That
yeah,
sounds
the
good.
score. Yeah, the
Yeah.
score for Rudy.
Yeah, you should find it and pull it up as we come back.
Parties, shopping, working, rapping, and decorating.
Any song from that movie is going to be a cool song to bring up.
Distracted driving.
Rudy music. I
Dude,
don't
I'll
know
get
what it
chills.
would be. Yeah. Maybe I'll go home and watch it with the kids.
Deadly statistic.
Oh, that's right. I have
If
like
you
8
talk
things to
about
do.
it after, when you first come back, I can play it.
Okay. So you got to use your music out of the bump, right?
Ohio
Stand by.
State, UCLA, Kentucky, and North Carolina. The CBS Sports. This morning at 11:45 on CBS Sports Radio, 1140.
The only way to take sports adrenaline with you is the radio.com app. Download it today and search CBS Sports Radio 1140 in Las Vegas and listen to us anytime, anywhere.
VGK versus Montreal today at 1 o'clock over at the T-Dot. Or what, do we have
TMA.
a call?
TMA.
You call it TMA.
Yeah,
Okay.
TMA.
That sounds too much like T&A. Yeah.
Oh, what's that?
Oh, what is that? Rudy music in
Because
the
it gives
background?
you chills.
Yeah, I got chills.
I could sit here and listen to it all day. Just the soundtrack for that movie. In case you're joining us a little later, we had Rudy Ruettiger on top of the hour just to talk about his story. And again, just to touch on what I mentioned the last segment, guys, about the message for him. And it's hard when you hear this music. How do you not get the message?
Dude,
Bust your
it's-
you know what, and you're gonna achieve what you want to
It's
achieve.
chills
You know?
every time, man. Chicken skin.
Yeah, so the Golden Knights need a little Rudy inspiration, I think.
Oh,
back
good
to back
segue,
here
good
coming
segue
up.
there.
Canadians at 1, and then they've got the LA Kings. I think it's 4 o'clock start Sunday, or it's a matinee. I do know that 3 o'clock. Matt's giving me the eyes.
Today's game is it's a 1 o'clock start.
Matt's giving me the eyes because I have tickets for Sunday's game.
Oh,
Yeah.
man,
Yeah.
don't even get me
I have
started on
tickets
that,
for
John,
Sunday's
with your
game.
This
nonsense.
is an easy stretch for VGK. This
Well,
is
it
an
should
easy
be.
stretch.
It
yeah.
should be.
4 straight at home,
Oh,
and
right.
then
Do we?
they're on the road where?
Malcolm
The
Subban's
Kings?
going to play tomorrow.
That's what I was gonna say.
Subban's playing tomorrow.
Oh, now you're a Subban fan
So,
again.
I've always been on the Subban
Oh, come on.
bandwagon. Come on now.
Come on, a 1-0 game. He's
he
still
lowered-
lost.
He
He
lowered
hasn't
his
won
goals
yet. He
against.
has not won.
He's lowered his goals against, now 0-5, but now he's 3.5 goals a game instead of like 4.1. So hey, he looked great in that game.
We talked a little bit about Fleury early on with the getting to 9th all time on the wins list. We did catch up with Fleury a little bit after the win the other night, and here's what he had to say about who he's played with in the past.
Hi.
Little
Obviously,
hello.
it's very pretty cool to be up there with these guys. You know, a lot of goalies that I grew up watching and have so much respect for. You know, so I guess I've been lucky to play with. good teammates, good teams, and happy to be there.
You guys really didn't panic. You gave up those 2 goals in the first period, but the team really came out firing in the second period. So what does that say about just the game tonight?
Yeah, I thought we showed a lot of character. We were calm. I feel like they came at us, and it was a minute and a half to score 2 goals. Obviously not the way you want to come back in the room with, but we got right back into the game, and I don't think I saw many pucks in that second. And we dominated, got a big goal. One would just sell out, and we kept coming. And even the third, right, kept coming at them, and it paid off at the end.
Barzal, when you watch him from up high, he spins guys in circles. So as a goalie, is it kind of difficult to play against a guy like that?
A little bit, yeah, he is. They always have a big guy in front or a guy in front of the net, right? And then we have a D with them, and then he's, I don't know, doing circles and doing 8s, right? Doing 8-shape figures, skating everywhere. I'm just trying to find him, like, where the puck's at. And then, I don't know, he's still good at keeping the puck on his stick and going around guys, and he's obviously a very talented player.
Marc-Andre, talk about those first 2 goals that New York got. Seemed like there was a lot of traffic in front of the net. What did you see there?
First one I didn't see. I tried to find it, started to stay low, and I couldn't pick it up. And the second, he just beat me, came in and put it under the bar.
MAF. Mark AF.
Mark AF, yeah, as I refer to him. And you know that he's in a zone now. How do you know? Because he's getting that puck luck again.
He's
as you
getting,
guys, well,
pucks off pipes and straight into his glove.
The puck just, I mean, how incredible was that? I mean, he didn't even know. He's like,
the angle didn't even make sense.
And nobody thought in T-Mobile Arena that he made that save. Nobody. I mean, the place went silent.
Yeah.
Everybody was anticipating a goal there. And then it took a good, 15 seconds for people to realize, holy, you know what? He made the save. I mean,
I didn't see it go into his glove. I heard it hit the pipe, but then you didn't see. It was so quick that going into his glove that you had no idea where the puck went. No, how does that happen? How does that angle happen?
Because he's back in the zone, and good
magic's
things
starting to come back.
Good things happen when he's in the zone.
Stanley Cup final run yet again.
Oh boy!
Can you imagine?
So the first meeting against Montreal, Thomas Tatar. Remember that guy? He had the game winner in the first meeting. 5-4 of the final went off of Shea Theodore's stick. Shea Theodore, what's up?
Yeah, he started off decent, I guess, this season. He looked okay, and now he's kind of fallen off a little bit. He seems to be out of position a lot, like you mentioned, off his stick. He's having trouble just hanging on to the puck. I don't know. Maybe even talking to Amari Cooper, he can't hang on to the ball. I don't know what's going on.
First time it uttered out of my mouth yesterday was the first time where I said, "Boy, that contract that Shea Theodore got not paying dividends." Right?
Well, one of them is about to implode, right?
Right, but I mean, again, it's a seven-year deal, right? Ebbs and
ways to
flows
go.
here.
He's still a kid.
Yeah, I'd like to see him pick it up, but it's certainly at this moment not worth the contract that he's got, no question.
I watched some of the Canadian game the other night against the Avs, and they had gone 0 for 25 on the power play before Brendan Gallagher scored his 16th goal. So, again, you have to be able to play well, defend against the power play, but also face-offs, guys. Holy smokes!
Yeah,
now,
Tony keeps struggling.
No, they're still struggling
because Stastny is the best probably at winning face-offs, and he lost the face-off against the Islanders. Josh Bailey beats him, and then the quick feed to Matthew Barzal, and then.
Yeah, that was
and
Barzal
goals.
just kind of swung over and
Holy
just
smokes!
threw a
And
puck
then
on net.
what about that? That was a blistering shot by Brock Nelson too. The bullet, right? And quickly it was 2-0. Bang bang.
So heads up, they were 50% on faceoffs the other night. It's not like they're getting killed on faceoffs. I saw when they lost that faceoff and Barzal hit that shot. The first thing I did was go and look at the faceoff stats because I knew you were going to jump all over the faceoff thing, and you did. And they were ahead.
Although
in the game already in faceoffs.
I have to admit,
they're
they've
not
gotten
going to go.
They've
That's the
gotten
thing,
better.
Tony. They're not going to go 100%.
No,
team's going to go
but
100%.
They have improved,
and they're
because
not.
They
right.
listened to my advice and they worked on it during the offseason.
Well, clearly they're listening to the show, but they're not getting killed this year. They're doing just fine in faceoffs, in my opinion. You're going to lose one now and then. It's the nature of the game.
Were people whining too much about the Alex Tuck goal that was taken off the board? What was the feeling like in the arena? It was so clear. Yeah. The guys during the intermission on the telecast were saying that he was not offside. And then one of the, don't get me started. But one of the things was they were saying, yeah, he might have been offside, but it was a nice goal. They should have let it stand.
After the game, Tuck had mentioned something about it. He said,
What'd he say?
Some clown was offside. I don't think he used the word clown, but he just said, yeah, it would have been a great play if some guy didn't go offside.
So he knew.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I think that might
what
have
about
been.
the
I
toe
think
drag?
that might have been
Didn't
more
he-
on Marchessault, to be honest with you.
Right.
It looked like he had a clear lane to get the puck across, and he kind of held it just a little bit as Tuck was coming full speed. And I mean, that was a great play overall. It's just, you're off by an inch, and that's the difference in the game. But fortunately, it didn't cost them. They were able to. They really swung the momentum on that power play and getting that goal from Peary, and it changed the entire tone of the game.
John's the betting guy, and every time there's an empty netter, like
I'm a
they
small
cover the
time
puck.
gambler,
Yeah, what you're the big time baller.
No, very small.
And every time that we see, one of those empty netters, it covers the puck line. So -1.5. They've had that happen so many times. So many
Usually
times.
Schmidt going 150 feet down the ice.
And
too.
I should know better, too. The Magic's kind of starting to come back.
You're feeling the Magic.
When they were down 2-0, I should have went to in play and saw what the number was. I'm sure you could have got a nice plus number after trailing 2-0 after 1.
Stay with us. There's more on the way right here on the Sports Adrenaline Las Vegas show, right here on CBS Sports Radio, 1140 a.m.
Join Mark Patrick Hypnosis and lose weight or stop smoking for only $49.99 guaranteed. Seminars Saturday.
Other people are there at the back.
I can go get him. I'll get him. Yeah.
Okay.
Thanks.
And then we'll bring Jason in or whoever wants to come in
Yeah,
for
it
a couple
just depends
minutes.
on how long this
Yeah,
guy's
yeah,
gonna talk.
okay.
If he comes on.
Gotcha.
If not, we've got.
Somebody who is struggling with this very problem, losing my mentor, my best friend.
Just say, hey, can you come on? Just ask him, say, can you come on with us?
We gotta be out by 55. Remember
Yeah.
that.
When we did our draft for tickets, season tickets, I told John, okay, so my number one game, I'm gonna take that Kings game, and I had the 5th pick out of the 5 of us. John picked 4th, took the Kings game, the one on Sunday. I was like, dude, are you serious? Couldn't believe he did it.
No answer.
That's why I'm breaking his balls.
Something must have happened. If he got busy, something. CBS needed him. Okay, I'll call him back.
Is he on a national thing with
It's
them?
national, yeah.
Well, you don't have much time.
It's okay. If he comes, it's
This message sponsored by the Nevada Department of Health and
must something had to break. Something's up.
with the Nevada Broadcasters Association.
There's no bowl games on right now.
A former NFL Super Bowl
Yeah, I think my parents are going to that game on Sunday.
of his life to
Hmm.
serve in the Army.
Because my dad used to be a Kings fan.
My family's a big part of what my family's done for a long time. I want to go out there and make a difference. I didn't find that working behind the desk, so for me it was a pretty easy decision to make. And then the opportunity to serve
Are
my
the Kings
community,
good
serve
this
my
year?
country was just
No.
No.
Yet the Knights were destroyed by them. Knights lost to the 2 worst teams in the league in the same week. One from the East, one from the West. But then they beat all the good teams.
Well, I guess it's a good thing.
They're coming around. I think they're going to be just fine.
Alcohol, drugs, or tobacco.
They'll make the playoffs.
How far along
They're clearly one of the better teams, and this is fighting through all the injuries they've had.
Okay, so it'll cut you off at 55:46.
55-46, Tony.
Low cost treatment options may be
The only,
available, so you
the only photo. Look. Look at this.
Where did that come from?
My friend Jen.
Hey, we got one last segment, everybody. Thanks for again hopping on.
So 55-46.
Do we?
Hard out.
Is our guest on? No.
No.
No. Okay.
It's got to be a big
Jason said he'd pop in, so we'll just pop our heads out. What do we want to touch on? Do we want anything going on with the Lights or Aces? No.
Yeah, Lights have their games, and the Aces
Oh,
have
the
their
schedule.
openers.
Yeah.
Schedule.
Okay.
Still months away.
It's 55. Sorry, 55 is our
55-46, hard out.
Got it.
It'll cut you off. You keep going.
Well, me. No. What are you looking at me for?
It'll cut whoever's still talking. Stand up before.
The Knights are in a
Is this us?
solid playoff spot right now.
We've got you covered, Las Vegas. Reach out to us. Tweet at Adrenaline LV. Find us on Facebook, Sports Adrenaline LV. Or call us now at 702-889-5978. This is the Sports Adrenaline Show on CBS Sports Radio, 1140 AM.
During the break, Matt fanboying the Knights are in playoff contention. They're in the right spot. But you know what, Matt? They cannot win on the road. They can't
Well,
win
it's
on
a
the
good thing
road.
they've got like 12 of
So
the
they
next
better-
16 at home.
What do you mean can't win
So,
on the road?
so if they're gonna make
Last
a run,
road trip they were 2-1-1.
if
Yeah,
they're gonna
I
make
know.
a run,
5
they're gonna
points.
make. They're just loading up on
5 out
on
of 8
wins at
possible
home.
points.
They're
and
getting
they
fat
can't
on
win
wins at home.
They've had a really they've had a lot of road games to start the season, and they've managed to tread water. They're starting to play better on the road. John just mentioned 5 points, 5 out of possible 8 points on this last road trip, and now they come home and get to feast for a while. They've got a lot of home games coming up here in the next month. So only they're 4 points clear in the wild card right now, and they're only a point behind San Jose and Anaheim for the second and third playoff spot, and only 5 behind Calgary
The
overall
Pacific
for the
is
number
going
1
to
seed
be
in the
a
Pacific.
logjam.
So
It's going to be a logjam all season.
Yeah,
but
they're clearly
I
one of
think
the
there's
better
so much
teams in the league.
parity.
I'm not worried
Rises
about
to the
it.
top, right?
There you go.
Again, team finding its stride.
As long as they find that stability there on the top line. Now you have 2 good lines, and thank you so much for making the changes to the first line.
I'm really excited to see Tuck play on that top line now for a little while. Just his skill set, his size, the length that he has. I think he's going to be great up there with those guys.
Hey, don't forget, fans, that the Silver and Black Today Show airs on Sunday mornings from 8 to 10 a.m., and you can hear Matt and Scott Colbranson talk about the latest news with the soon-to-be Las Vegas Raiders. Hey, we've got some news from the Las Vegas Lights FC, the USL team announcing that it will play a couple of exhibition games, right? We've got the MLS opponents coming back this winter. The Lights will be hosting Toronto FC February 2nd and the Colorado Rapids February 16th at Cashman Field. We went to some of those MLS games last year.
I'm wondering who's going to be on the Lights. They don't have a roster yet.
I'm telling you what, though, he's a winner, man.
Winalda?
Yeah.
Yeah, well.
Eric Winalda's he's gonna win. He'll turn this around. He got rid of a lot of those scrubs, man. He did. He got rid of a lot of scrubs. But Toronto won the MLS Cup in 2017, and Josie Altidore will be here, right? We'll see him. Tim Howard is the coach or rather the goalkeeper, I should say, of the Rapids, and so that's going to be pretty cool. And then they start the regular season here at Cashman Field March the 9th. They'll take on expansion franchise, the Austin Bold FC.
Bold. What's their mascot, Tony?
I hate their logo. I don't know. I haven't seen it. But I just hate
Can't
their
be
logo
worse than the
anyway.
Aviators logo.
I knew. I was trying to get a rise. So that's the squad representing the capital of Texas, one of 3 new opponents that Las Vegas will play this upcoming year. We've got the El Paso Locomotives coming in and the New Mexico United. We will see all of them at Cashman Field. And then news from the Aces on Sunday, May 26th. We'll be there at the opener against the LA Sparks.
Yeah,
Of
that's
course.
great.
Got
Derek
it.
Fisher.
Derek Fisher
Yeah.
coming in.
Coach Fish.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was great on our air, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
Yep.
A couple of weeks ago. And Bill Lambier, what does he do with the number 1 pick? I'm getting the feeling that he's going to trade it. I think he's
going
going to
big.
trade it.
Going
Go
big. It's still on the board, I think. I don't know if we've
Yeah.
erased it or not. But
What else? What did I forget to put on the board? The changes in the top
the
line?
top line. Yeah, you've been talking about Riley Smith moving to that second line for a
Huh.
long time.
Hey, speaking of, the wind blew in somebody, even though there is no wind. Jason Pothier from Sinbin.Vegas. Hey, you guys at the top of the hour, so line changes, let's start with that. And I want to touch on Shea Theodore if we have a minute here, but
shoot, go ahead.
The line changes, though, you mix it up a little bit. It's about time, right?
I'm not. I wouldn't stick with it. But I know Ken and I will argue about this. I think when Pacioretty's back, I would like to see that, Stasny, Pacioretty, and Tuck together, and I'd like to see the top line from last year back
They haven't spent any
together.
time together.
They haven't spent any time together. But as of right now, I mean, that Tuck. Marshall and Carlson line looked good together, and Riley Smith and Stasny looked very good together. So we'll have to see. It really comes down to when Pacioretty gets healthy and basically how they play with Tuck on the top line. So we'll see what happens.
Talk about Peary. When Pacioretty does come back, when and if he comes back, do we see Peary find a spot on this roster? Does he give that third line, which has a lot of trouble scoring, some offense finally?
Yeah, you nailed it. I mean, that's what they need. They need some depth scoring, and Peary can definitely do that. The only thing is he's had many opportunities in the NHL, and, if he doesn't score, Peary's not in the lineup. So we'll have to find out if Peary can do what the coaches think he can do, and that's continue to score to take Noshik or Carpenter's position. And if that's the case, he has to score because, like you said, they have to score on the third line.
Something big must have happened. Thanks, and we'll tune in to Simbin coming up next. But CBS Sports draft expert Chris Trapasso will probably come on next week now because a breaking story of some sort. The Raiders just got rid of all their draft picks. They just gave them away.
They give them back to the Bears to bring Khalil Mack
It's the
back.
holiday season. It's the gift of giving. They gave them all to the Chicago
They
Bears.
got 2 and gave 3.
Of course, we'd like to thank all of our guests today. Tony Sanchez, of course, on the recruiting class. Joel Tomway of the Running Rebels. Of course, we spoke to David Jablonski from the Dayton Daily News. Good info. And UNLV will be shipped. They're going to get shipped to play at Rhode Island when they start that A10 Mountain West Conference
Put it on the board.
series. And then, of course, Rudy Ruettiger.
Awesome.
What a thrill,
It was
man.
awesome, man.
Rudy.
Yeah, if you missed any of our show, too, I encourage you to, again, hop online. So we've got our show streaming on Facebook.com/SportsAdrenalineLV, and then we're up on Periscope. Just find @AdrenalineLV. So the Rudy Ruettiger is worth your time just searching and going back as soon as we're off the air here. That'll archive it. You'll be able to watch it.
Happy holidays, choir boys.
Yeah.
Thanks for the gifts, Tony,
Yeah,
again.
love
And
the
you can
Christmas
see our
sweaters.
ugly sweaters if you watch the stream online.
And thanks again
Looking
to
sharp with
Sierra
the
Nagel
bows.
for making these from Seasons Grocery out at Lake Las Vegas. And thanks again to Matt, to John Castanino, Matt Gutierrez, Sonia Schlobaum on the dials. I'm Tony Cardasco. We thank everyone for tuning in. Thanks again to Laborers Local 872 for their sponsorship of the Sports Adrenaline Show. We'll see you next week right here on CBS Sports Radio, 1140 a.m.
Happy holidays. I'm Michael E. Minden. Have you ever seen a dancing diamond? The diamonds and the necklaces and earrings shimmer and twinkle when you move. We have some beautiful styles, and they start at just $199. In fact,